This meeting is being recorded. So let me just share that again. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. Before we get started, the information presented in this webinar is just for information only. It's not intended for medical advice. And please connect with us afterwards. You'll get a 15-minute assessment with our natural health practitioner, Ariel Jarvis. And if you stick around till the end, you might get an extra bonus. What you'll discover today is chronic illness trends in Canada, 3 biggest mistakes companies are making today, how companies can empower wellness, diversity, profitability, and social impact without breaking the bank, and how staff can design their own benefits plan, and who Vitality Wellness World and Breathe Salt Wellness is, and how we are here to change the landscape of healthcare. Okay. Oh, sorry, give me 1 second here. I'm like trying to navigate everything and enter people in. Okay. Some housekeeping rules before we continue. Everyone's going to be muted for the duration of the meeting. So Tracy, if you can mute yourself, that would be lovely. And Heather as well. Thank you. And if you guys have any questions, there's a chat box just at the bottom of your screen. Please enter it all there. And then we'll address them at the end. And if you guys need to eat, drink, or anything throughout the presentation, feel free to do so. And if you need to use the potty, do whatever you need. You know you're a parent when you use the word potty in a webinar. So who am I? My name's Kathy, and thank you so much again for joining. We appreciate your time. I will be your host today. I'm also the VP of Sales at Vitality Wellness World and Breathe Salt Wellness. I'm also, a fun fact about me, a comedian. So you might hear a joke here and there. And again, the purpose of this webinar is to share with you guys some holistic approaches to your healthcare and how you can get a group benefits plan that will cover these options. There, because most traditional plans right now do not cover these types of modalities, because traditional plans cover things like chiropractic, massage, pharmaceutical drugs, these kinds of things. But I find more and more people are trying to look for more holistic approaches. And these ones, in my opinion, sometimes leave people feeling more sick, and it's a band-aid solution for their well-being. So when I met Patrick, it was through his spouse, Winnie. And when he shared with me the group benefits plan, I knew I had to create a webinar to share with you guys the information that I received. This group benefits plan can be tailored, and I will allow Patrick to go into more detail with that. And, you know, I really live and breathe by that saying, it takes a village. And it doesn't just take a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village to keep the adults in check. And I know with a lot of adults, when we become parents, we tend to pour from an empty cup, and our health kind of goes down the tubes a little bit. So for me, my healing journey began 4 years ago when I became a mother, and the counselors that were included in the programs that I had access to weren't necessarily working for me. So I outsourced a inner child work counselor, and that was at $180 an hour. So you guys can understand why I'm so excited to be able to share Patrick's insurance solutions, because things like this will now be covered, and you don't have to be stuck with a counselor or options that are stuck with the plan. You get to choose how you see how to spend your dollars as you see fit. And quickly, when I started getting into my healing journey, I realized that regular GPs and medical assistants didn't help me get to the root cause of things, causing me more mental anguish. And I had become such an angry person when I became a mom, because a lot of these things started to come up. So I want to share with you guys my story, because it kind of ties into why I decided to create this for you guys, because I spent a lot of money, and if I can help someone save money, that's what I'm here to do. So during my postpartum journey, I realized that I was suffering from postpartum depression and anxiety, and it was my ego that kind of didn't want to face it until my sister came and told me, like, hey, you know what, when you became a mom, you became a completely different person. And again, I started going to my GP, and all they kept doing was trying to get me to take these medications. And because mental health issues run in my family, I've seen how the pharmaceutical drugs have made my brothers and sisters. And so I didn't want to go down that route. So that's when my holistic journey kind of began. Push comes to shove, 3 years down the road. Hello, thank you. If you guys can meet yourselves, that would be great, or I can meet you guys too. Thanks for joining. Fast forward 3 years, last year, I thought I was getting better and I started experiencing about 6 months, almost 7 months of vertigo. And it was only when I was laying down. So of course my sleep was completely gone. Like I wasn't sleeping at all. And so the next day I was kind of just powering through the day, and it got to a point where my body was like, hey, Kathy, you need to stop. And when I contacted my GP, I was freaked out because all my results came back normal. My blood work showed nothing. And he wanted to diagnose me over Zoom. And for me, that just wasn't enough. So of course I took to social media and I asked for some help, and I was passed over to Ariel Jarvis. And that's kind of how my journey began with her. And through working with Ariel Jarvis, I met Yada, and we're here to present to you some holistic solutions. And without further ado, I would love to introduce Patrick so that he can start talking about the solutions. So Patrick,
awesome, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. So he's the co-founder of Living Well Solutions, and a fun fact about him, you can go for it.
Awesome, yeah. Thanks so much, Kathy. A fun fact about myself is on my honeymoon, I spent it 2 months backpacking through Southeast Asia. Don't recommend that to anyone because we almost came back not married, but we're still together, so it worked out.
That is a funny fact. I'm gonna bug Winnie about that next time.
Yeah, definitely do.
Okay, cool. So take it away. The floor is yours, man.
Awesome. I'm gonna share my screen now. Yeah, so today I'm gonna be talking about how to avoid the 3 biggest mistakes that keep employees sick, and actually how those mistakes hurt your company's bottom line. But first of all, I would love to get a sense of everyone who's on the call today, and feel free to share this in the chat. What does health and wellness mean to you? Because for some people, it means having the fitness and freedom to be able to travel and explore the world. For others, it's having the energy and health to keep up with your kids or maybe even your grandkids and be there for their graduation or maybe even their wedding. And for still others, it's being at the top of your game, whether it's in your personal or professional life. And now imagine what your life would be like if you didn't have your health, or if someone you love lost their health. So I was a typical kid growing up in East Vancouver, and my dad played ice hockey, so he got me in a sport as well. And we lived, I would say maybe 5, maybe 6 blocks from the local rink. So on weekends, my dad would make me carry my hockey equipment all the way from our house, all the way to the rink. Now I know what you're thinking, 5 or 6 blocks doesn't sound like much, but keep in mind when you're a little kid, that hockey equipment weighs almost as much as you do. So trudging over there, heavy hockey bag over my shoulder, it felt like forever. But my dad said it would build character, and we spent many weekends bonding that way. But all that ended one day when my dad was diagnosed with cancer. Now everyone, my family, the doctors, and even my dad was sure he was gonna beat it. But one day when he learned that his tumor had started to grow and spread, he knew his time was up. And when I was 11, I lost my dad to cancer. And in that moment, not only did I lose my dad, but my mom lost her best friend, and my grandma lost a son. And that had ripple effects throughout my entire family. Now, fast forward more than 30 years later, who here, and feel free to share this in the chat as well, who believes that things have improved with our healthcare system? And who believes things have actually gotten worse? So despite all the advances in medical technology and drug research over the years, things have actually gotten worse. Because the Public Health Agency of Canada estimates that 44% of Canadian adults have at least one of 10 common chronic illnesses, things like diabetes, arthritis, heart disease, and mental health struggles. The Canadian Cancer Society predicts that 1 in 2 Canadians will be diagnosed with cancer. That's half our population. And a research group out of the US predicts that 7 in 10 North Americans, so Canadians included, over the age of 65 will require extended care. And what does this mean? It means that most of us will be living with more years of illness and losing our independence unless we do something about it. And we as society will continue to get sicker and sicker. So what can we do about this? So it came down to a conversation that I had with my wife one evening. And even though we've been in the insurance planning industry for over 10 years, we have our own plan set in place. At the same time, we did not want to be one of those statistics. We didn't want to wait till one of us was diagnosed with cancer, got the insurance payout, and then try to do something for our health. It would probably be too late by then. So we started learning everything we could about preventative and proactive healthcare. And we learned about amazing modalities and services, which could really alleviate a lot of the issues that we as society face. And then we decided to make it our mission to introduce a holistic healthcare model to corporations and small businesses and transform them into influencers of wellness in communities all across Canada. But I know what you're thinking. Why should companies care about this? Well, as it turns out, companies are making actually three critical mistakes with employee health that are costing them $122 billion every single year. And that's just in Canada. So the first mistake is assuming if employees at work, they are perfectly healthy. When the reality is chronic illness and mental health issues are far more prevalent and actually much more expensive than companies realize. So in terms of chronic illness and mental health, 44% of employees admitted that they struggle with their mental health, with issues including depression, anxiety, extreme stress, and substance abuse. Now, the stigma is still very real today, so I'm sure that number is much higher. 58% of employees with a chronic condition report a negative impact on their productivity and attendance. So more than half of the employees who have a health condition are actually saying it's affecting their work. And it comes at a cost of $122 billion every year in lost productivity. We refer to this as the hidden cost to companies. And in case you're wondering, this works out to $6,575 for every employee at your company. Mistake number two is thinking that all benefits plans are the same and that they're going to be enough to keep your employees healthy. When the truth is, most health benefit plans actually don't promote health. In reality, they keep your employees sick. Here's the number for you, 70%. 70% of employees with a health benefits plan actually still struggle with at least one chronic health condition. So for the majority of plan members out there, they are not getting support that they need. And this is really due to three reasons. The first reason is that typical plans are reactive in nature and they're limited to things like drug plans, medical services, and disability benefits. Now, don't get me wrong, these can be important to have, but these are also after the fact and can be an expensive way to try to support your staff. And due to the reactive nature, employees end up staying sick while costs increase year after year for the company. Reason number two, these plans are one size fits all. So regardless whether one of your staff members, one of your colleagues is struggling with depression, anxiety, heart disease, or being an unpaid caregiver, it's the same plan for everyone. And what this means is that there's not enough coverage where you need it the most. And the third reason is a lack of sustainability. Drug costs have been rapidly rising over the years, so most companies end up focusing on cost containment and restricting their benefits further. So not only are employees not getting support that they need now, they will actually be getting less and less support as the years go by and the costs go up. Mistake number three is believing that adding wellness to employee programs is expensive. When properly designed, a wellness program can actually save money and in fact, even generate revenue for a company. In terms of the bottom line for company wellness programs, on average, they've resulted in 1.8 fewer absentee days per employee per year, 11% higher revenue per employee, and 28% higher shareholder returns. But the most staggering finding is that based on a meta-analysis of 56 studies, it showed that for every dollar spent on wellness, there's a $5.81 benefit to a company. So actually, yes, wellness can be profitable. So you might be wondering where we fit in. How do we help companies address those three mistakes that are costing them the $122 billion every year? So to address that, we've designed the organizational wellness strategy. And what that is, it's a three-part strategy meant to address the three biggest challenges that companies are facing. The first being that if chronic illness, mental health, and work-life struggles are hidden, how do you identify those health gaps? Because when you see one of your colleagues at the office, you don't know whether they're struggling with heart disease, brain fog, anxiety, or depression, and legally, you cannot ask them. So what do? So our solution to that is we've designed holistic health assessments done on a company-wide level. Now, the results are anonymous, but aggregated. And what this means is that you can get a snapshot of where your employees need the most support, but without singling out specific employees. Challenge number 2 is if your typical approach to benefits keeps staff sick, what can you do about it? So our solution is we've cultivated a diverse network of health and wellness experts to be able to promote healing right at the source and go beyond those Band-Aid solutions. And challenge number 3 is, so we have a diverse network of health and wellness experts, but how can employers and staff afford those wellness solutions? So our solution to that is a model that integrates wellness directly into a benefits program. And I'll talk more about that later on today. But for now, I'll bring it back to Kathy, who will introduce some key members of our holistic healthcare network.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Thank you so much, Patrick. So let me introduce to you, we have James. He is our VP of Operations. He has a degree in anthropology. I can never pronounce that properly. U.S. National Team Systems gold medalist, and many more rowing accolades with 15 years of experience. You can see why he's steering the boat for Vitality Wellness and Breathe Salt Wellness, pun intended. A fun fact about James, he worked with monkeys, lived in New York, and had a pet monkey. So yes, you can say he was Ross from Friends at the same time the show was on. So go for it, James, and introduce Vitality and Breathe Salt Wellness and how we can change the world.
Sure. All right. Thank you, Kathy, for that introduction. Thank you, Patrick, for your insight and some of the stats that I think are very profound and offer us to kind of wake up and do something about this and facilitate a change. That is why I'm here. That is why I'm part of Vitality Wellness World, where we are bringing vitality to humanity one cell at a time. You'll meet our 2 founding members shortly after I have my little spiel here. And yes, a little bit of an overview. I am AKA Ross from Friends. I guess you could say I'm kind of dorky that way too, maybe, but it's one of a fun fact of living in New York. Yes, thank you, Kathy. New York and Los Angeles. I come from the States. I do have an extensive background in really high performance sport. I grew up with asthma, so respiratory condition is a big passion play of mine that led to me overcoming asthma through the sport of rowing in particular, which I was very blessed to achieve a high level of performance for the US and here in Canada when I moved up here much later on in my life. And that led me to being a spokesperson for the American Lung Association of New York, where I went around. I spoke mostly to kids, went into hospitals and just tried to be a champion of inspiration for the youth out there. That gravitated to a career as a spokesperson, as a figure in the entertainment industry, where I went back and forth to New York and LA. I also have a background in performance development, so I worked with a lot of business owners from conceptualization to actually creating a tangible, viable business. And now, as a coach, as a performance coach, I've melded that into kind of a one-lane highway where I bring sport, business dynamics into this kind of interwoven tapestry to help each of us be the best representation that we can be of ourselves. Obviously, first and foremost, health and wellness is a huge thing for me. It always has been. And it always will be. I think as I can speak for any athlete out there that's performed at a certain level, understanding the importance of being well-rounded in nutrition, in understanding physiology, how that creates our unique person's or body's ability to adapt to physiological training is the key to success. Much like it is for all of you that are on this and all of you that will be watching this on your health journey. And, you know, Patrick talked about a couple of the reasons why the current medical system is failing, and it's reactive versus proactive. And that's what I love about Vitality Wellness. We are a proactive, heart-led company. We are here to be of service for each and every one of you to ultimately help you create a blueprint whereby you live the life that is yours to live. So who are we? We are a global footprint community. We are ever expanding. As you're going to hear shortly, we've only been around for a very short time, and our footprints are already stretching into Europe, across North America. We have connections in Hawaii and the States, on the East Coast of Canada, into Europe, and it's super, super exciting. We are here as humanitarians, and we're doing that because health is a part of the human ecosystem, and collectively changing the health consciousness of the planet starts with one cell, one person at a time. What sets us apart? There's a lot of people out there, a lot of people touting off health and wellness. I can have you losing weight, I can have you running a marathon, I can have this, I can have that. Fantastic. Again, from that proactive mindset, we get to the anti-cookie cutter approach, because at the cell level, each of us have a different, same but different blueprint with how we respond to nutrition, how our body absorbs certain things, what our cells will need in a sequence of events to facilitate some sort of restorative chain of events from an illness, from a condition, whatever that is. We blend science. So as Patrick was stating, you know, stats. When you look at stats, it's like stats don't lie. It's the same thing in science. When Ariel gets on later on and talks about, you know, some of our procedures, you have a tangible concept staring you in the face that you can't ignore. And as humans, that seems to be the tipping point for us to facilitate change for ourselves. So cutting edge science, understanding energy, understanding how electromagnetic frequency, as Beata, our other owner, is going to talk about, can facilitate more restorative and a frequency within the body to kind of get back to our normal dial of health. Respiratory care. We're opening up, we have a pet division that's opening up here in North Vancouver. Probably in about 6 weeks, we have a facility. We have another facility that's going to open in 64th Street here in Langley as well. It's kind of going to be our flagship facility. We're having a mobile division, so we can bring our respiratory and our PEMF treatments to the elderly specifically, as well as others. But can you imagine, as you're going to hear, the elderly and the people around us that are susceptible to everything from environmental to nutritional to you name it, now they can have this treatment proactively at their doorstep in their age in place facilities. This is yeah, it's truly one of a kind. You know, we are branching out. We are true trailblazers, and it's exciting to be a part of this. And lastly, I'll tie it back into our humanitarian cause, if you will. We also have our village, as Kathy was talking, right? It does take a village. Well, we have our Vitality Village, which is going to be our non-for-profit sector, where we showcase and colleagues offer services and just be of service with love and how we show up for the world. So Kathy, that is going to be it from James Gardner here. And I know we're excited to get into hear what the two owners have to say.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that, James. Okay, so now I get the honor to introduce Beata, the COO, Director of Vitality Wellness and Breathe Salt Wellness, COO of Pet Vitality World, co-owner of an engineering company, and a strategic consultant, and lastly, a coach for national athletes in track and field. So, whew, that was a lot. She has a lot of accolades, and what I love about her is she has a gentle heart. And fun fact about Beata, she communicates in 6 languages, loves traveling and exploring caves and castles. Her scariest moment was swimming with sharks in an open ocean near San Pedro Island, Belize. Go for it, Beata.
I'm just going to share the screen as well. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Okay, so yes, I'm Beata Girava, and I got the pleasure of being about over 18 years and having a role as a senior business manager and in management role. I got opportunities to be strategic consultant and a director and CEO of multiple companies. The sectors that I was really interested in was engineering companies and wellness centers. I also had the opportunity to manage multiple properties and be at a property management role. But more than anything, I'm all about 3 conceptual fundamentals. And that is for me is energy, vitality, and humanity. To me, what's the point of living on this planet for whatever time we have if we cannot enjoy it in our ultimate best? So this was always a thrill for me from the beginning of my life. I've been always a competitive athlete since I was 6 years old. And when I came to Canada, I continued doing so. But I later on developed interest in respiratory, cellular, and functional medicine. I got my degree in Europe. I did not complete it. I took 2 universities at the same time. I had about 14 courses a semester, quite challenging, and I was a professional athlete on the top of it. But I had the opportunity to challenge that and complete my business degree here in Canada. I have been competed. I was a competitive athlete at national, international, and junior Olympics, and that kind of led me to be also a coach in Canada for the last decade. So I work with kids, with athletes, to get them out of streets, literally, to make them to believe they can do it. And with just a little bit of speckle of discipline and encouragement, some of the kids did very well. I'm also a member of World Halotherapy Association and Soul Therapy Association. Let me just tell you a story. My daughter, when she was about 4 years old, she developed asthma, quite significant. That was my 3rd child, and I have them quite spread. My kids are already, some of them are grown up, some of them are little. So at that time, I was just done with my last child, but I was not getting any sleep because she was constantly waking up, coughing all the time. We visited multiple emergencies, went to see multiple doctors, and just nothing was happening besides just giving her puffs. And I was just not a solution for me. She kept coughing nights. Her performance as a young athlete, she has been doing a lot of sports. She's about 1 year old. Got kind of discouraged on our end, but I kept searching. And I do know I am European. So back in the country where I come from, we have multiple, over 1,000 natural caves. And I knew from that perspective that respiratory care has been dealt with in the caves. And people would go there for a week or 2 to regenerate and get that wellness for the lungs. So I searched, I looked in British Columbia, is there something that can help my daughter? lucky enough, I found out about Breathe Soul Wellness, and I just took 10 sessions. I said, just have to try. I have nothing to lose. About 5th session, or between 3 to 5 sessions, my daughter stopped coughing. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. She kept sleeping whole nights. We completed the 10 sessions. We tuned it up a little bit later on for another 10 sessions. And she's now 10 years old. She no longer has asthma attacks. She doesn't take any puffs. She sleeps through the night and no more emergencies. So that's how I kind of came across with Breathe Soul Wellness. And that is why later on I acquired the company, and now I just want to share it with all of you guys. There should be no worries in people's hearts is, what do I do with this pandemic? How do I take care of it? Do I even have any solutions for it? So Breathe Soul Wellness is there. It's fundamental. It's humanitarian. We really take this far. But let me tell you from a different perspective. As James was saying, we are part of Earth. Okay, if we're part of this ecosystem, well, we need to thrive in it, and we have certain longevity in here. Based on some of the scientists that I work with, by the way, I work with scientists from Israel, Russia, Japan, US, and Canada. Again, I'm more of a messenger. I'm not a doctor, a medical scientist. Ariel Jarvis, who is my partner, she will be enhancing you with that knowledge and what she does. But from the perspective of talking to some of the biophysicists and scientists, they taught me a lot, and I'd love to pass this to you guys. You are part of this world, and you have about 120 years based on your DNA. Well, how do we live productively? We don't supposed to be dying for 60 years and thinking that something will happen to us. We're supposed to be living 120 years, and our heart's supposed to stop at the end of it, and that's about that. Well, we have 5 elements that are very important and significant for our longevity and vitality. So just be mindful, put it in your perspective, and remember, and always protect yourself. So this is the little secret. Remember, number 1 is we've been taught at school, and multiple people, if I would ask them, what is the strongest force on the planet Earth? Many of you will probably say gravity. No, it's actually electromagnetism. Is much stronger than gravity. So that is why we have one of our treatments in our clinics, and we are expanding with a bunch of treatments also for animals and humans, is pulse electromagnetic frequency treatment. The devices that we use are actually bought in Europe. So all the devices we use for either respiratory care or for PMF or further testing are majority bought and purchased in Europe. So this is the system we use. And another one, second, is air. Okay, we do know we are in the middle of pandemic, and there's lots going on with the wellness of the lungs. In that respect, we have recognized in our clinic, we take a lot of primary data right now because that's needed. We have about 95% efficacy clients coming in with multiple respiratory ailments, and they're leaving away with having that lessons, and now they can actually utilize the whole capacity of their lungs. Many of us are breathing kind of more shallow breathing. Okay, so keep that in mind. Number 3, water. Yeah, we all drink water or some kind of liquid. That's great. But again, as we have stated, it really matters what type of water we drink. Ariel Jarvis will be speaking further about it, but we need to be mindful that we need to be taking much more of negative ions, free flow of electrons, which is called hydrogen-rich water. That means it's a life water. The science comes from, especially from Russia. They have found out in a few of the locations, about 4 locations around the world, are actually locations where we are able to drink negative ORP, which is the negative ions water, for your protection. So that's what we also treat with this system that we have and therapy in our clinics. 4th one is sun. True enough. I mean, try to put a plant in a basement or in dungeon for about a month. We'll see if it will thrive. So, and even during pandemic, all the doctors said, take a lot of vitamin C, take vitamin D, expose the sun to some degree, again, limited throughout whatever time in a day, but at least have a half an hour per day. And lastly is the balance of exercise, mental health, and nutrition. Again, that's what we also do in our clinic. Ariel Jarvis is our medical scientist. She's also Chinese herbalist, She'll be speaking about how we help and how we recovered over 500 clients based on nutritional diet and mental health strengthening and exercising, etc. So remember these 5 secrets. It's quite useful for you in the future. And this is one of the treatments that I mentioned that we are really mindful of air or lungs, respiratory wellness. Do not underestimate power of salt. Again, our rooms are very unique. We will talk about it, how they are established and how they're functioning. But most than anything, salt itself, it's quite powerful. When the doctors tell you, well, you have a scratchy throat, just gargle with salt. Or baby has an infection, sinus infection. What do you do as a mother? You get a saline salt solution and you spray it in their nose. So it's been known for hundreds of years. And Canada is now becoming the first country in the world, in Alberta University, making salt masks. And we do also know the facts about from periodic table, from chemistry table, that there is salt. Then we have also copper and silver are the ones that are antiviral, antifungal, and antibacterial solutions base. So what does the salt do? It clears the mucus from your airways, is removing airflow obstruction. It enhances the lung mechanism, and especially in people who has asthma, or even if they're healthy, they just allow them to open up the airways. So now we can regenerate the cellular level for each cell, which we have over 75 trillions of cells, right? It balances airway surface liquid. And again, our treatments are dry salt therapy. So what it does is we disperse inside the rooms dry particles of the salt, which are pharmaceutically graded salt. The device that is actually grinding the salt called salt generator. We are also getting those devices from Europe. It disperses it in a room. So you kind of end up leaving the room quite salty. Just don't bring the chips. And what it really does is it works like a sponge. So it absorbs the liquid out of your lungs and you either sneeze it, cough it out, or digest it. It's a great solution for bronchitis, infections, and after COVID recovery. It increases oxygen intake as well as once your lungs capacity is enlarged and now you have actually ultimately utilized the entire size of your lungs, you increase your energy and also you boost your immune system. As I mentioned, the rooms are more cohort rooms, which is fantastic for pandemic situation. You only have a family per room or couple per room, and we have multiple rooms. We have the temperature inside the room sits kind of like a cave, which is about 16 degrees Celsius, so a little bit colder. And the walls and the floors are actually from Dead Sea salt from Israel. And as we know, nothing lives in the Dead Sea. And we have very strict protocol, continue having the protocols, and that is to do with measuring temperature, measuring your oxygen level, sanitizing, UV filtration, etc. Our ages of people who are coming to our clinics could be from newborn baby all the way to elderly. What are typical ailments and people that do come to our clinics? Often enough allergies, hay fever, bronchitis, pneumonia, COPD, sinusitis, sinus infection, respiratory infections. We actually have a lot of people who would be coming and doing a yoga there for the stress relief. And we have multiple people who have conditions for their skins, anything from psoriasis to eczemas to rosacea. And we also are having now, well, we always did, having frequent travelers, but we have not been really traveling a lot, so that's not significant right now. But between travels, a lot of people travel, they just come for tune-up. And this is our second treatment. That's the one that I have mentioned that's the strongest force on the planet Earth. It's electromagnetism, and it calls PEMF, Pulse Electromagnetic Field Therapy. It actually works for your body, for entire body on your cellular level. So we treat and we rehabilitate and recover the trillions of cells in our body. How do we do that? It's a special device. We have purchased it from Switzerland. The scientists are Swiss, NASA. It's FDA approved, Canadian Health Authority approved, and also it's safe and it's natural. You would be coming to our rooms. The treatments are about 45 minutes. You are surrounded still with our salt cave treatments, but you are laying on the device that has the ability to actually bring your body to the level of a surface. And what I mean by it is, as I said, we are part of the ecosystem. Our planet is protecting us from called Schumann resonance. It is only 8 to 11 hertz. That's it. And because currently we are being overstimulated by 5G, high frequency, we have devices, smart TV, smartwatch, smart everything. That's all great, but the frequency that is passing by our body in North America, it's allowed 60 hertz. In Europe, we only allow up to 50 hertz. So it's constantly stimulating your cells. It's just like your cells are being on a treadmill. Keep going, keep going, keep going. I mean, at what point you get exhausted? So our devices actually are offering a lower frequency pulse electromagnetic field, which mimics the Earth's magnetic surface. So that is why we have amazing results. I actually, honestly, I had no idea that the results are going to be so significant. We would have clients with autoimmune diseases coming to our clinic, 20 years of pain, head to toe, and about a couple months of treatments, that woman has no pain. We have clients after car accidents, people who have broken bones. That's why NASA had put a lot of effort into this for the astronauts, because of regrowing the bones for osteoporosis. So anyhow, there's lots to talk about the PMF, but we do have amazing results, and we will continue doing this for clients. Either they are babies, pregnant women, or elderly. We are here to treat your cells from in out. So what it's really clinically proven, what a PMF does is elevates or take away pain, inflammation. And why? Because if our cells are overstimulated, they tend to actually get attached. When all the cells get attached, the cell in the middle does not get oxygen, cannot rejuvenate, cannot detoxify. So actually it shrinks or degenerates and dies off. There goes our vitality. So the device has ability to actually separate the cells after 8 minutes and 30 seconds. And your body now have ability to rejuvenate and rehabilitate and take and detoxify, right? A lot of clients have a significant improvement in their sleep. Younger generations, like some of my children, they can't even fall asleep nowadays. They're constantly overstimulated. So we see sleeping patterns, it's improved, falling asleep improved. Energy, therefore, goes up, and your brain fog. A lot of people don't even know they have it until they try our treatments, and they say, oh my gosh, I don't forget as much, or I remember more, or my cognitiveness went up, I can comprehend more. That you should see these results within the 10 sessions. Your circulation would improve, and we also treat a lot of clients with depression and anxiety. It helps your immune system, and it controls and manages chronic diseases. Again, as I mentioned, it regrows the bones, and initially PEMF treatment has been used for horses regrowing their bones, and that's how it actually shifted to NASA and Russian scientists, that they furthermore enhanced it with treatments for humans. Also, it regulates blood pressure and cholesterol. So that's about what we do in a nutshell, and I pass it on to Kathy to bring Ariel Jarvis to our team.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all that useful information. Now it's time to introduce the woman who changed my life. Thank you so much, Ariel Jarvis. She's a natural health practitioner, herbalist, nutritionist, acutherapist, and medical scientist. Again, a slew of titles. And a fun fact about her is she loves to sing, and she loves sea turtles. Ariel, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Fabulous.
I apologize in advance. I think we're running a little bit behind, guys. So I know we do want to be cognizant of everyone's time, but I also want you guys to have a chance for the Q&A as well. So please bear with us. We are a little bit behind. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So what kind of propelled me into becoming a healthcare practitioner was I actually had a lot of time growing up because I was homeschooled from kindergarten to grade 12. I was able to fast track and really learn about a lot. However, this also was something where, you know, being completely submerged in the family, everyone was very close and very connected, and we all had our own health concerns growing up, which actually, you know, when you don't have your health, then you start to realize how the rest of your life gets impacted, and how when you're around each other, you get impacted. So my immediate family suffered from things like cancer, colitis, anxiety, depression, insomnia, constant gut problems, chronic fatigue. My sister went deaf at a very young age, and Western medicine was just not helping. They were putting a Band-Aid solution, spending hours in the ER, getting nowhere, wasting more time, and time is of the essence, you know, especially when you're young and you're vibrant and you want to go and excel in different things. I was a company ballet dancer, and I was also a musician. So this was really, really tough for me because I wouldn't be able to go do my passion because my health was always hindering me. And when my health wasn't hindering me, then my family's health was hindering me. And so I had to, you know, watch my family slowly decay. And I felt like, you know what, enough is enough. I was educated by some natural health practitioners, which they actually totally changed our life. They taught us that food is medicine. They taught us about how to use plant medicine and lifestyle changes, and the whole family just did a 180. And then I realized what my goal was, and it was I wanted to go to school. I wanted to learn about Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, plant medicine, so that I could help myself, so that I would never fall back into those patterns again. And I want to understand how, you know, our body responds to those things. I wanted to know the why. So that not just so I could help myself, but also so I could help my friends and family. So this motivated me to complete 9 years of university to help others find solutions using Eastern medicine and lifestyle. So being a natural health practitioner, I had realized that health was a wide spectrum, and each person is very unique. So if you have however many people on the planet and we all have our own individual DNA, then how is it that there's Western medicine feels that there's one size fits all? One desiccated thyroid medication will help everybody's underactive or overactive thyroid. One high blood pressure medication will bring down everybody's blood pressure and not wreak consequences. That didn't make sense to me because everybody responds differently to stress. Your cells respond differently to stress. We all eat different. We all have different genetic makeups, different lifestyle. So I started to realize the beauty of healing, and that's by treating the root cause, but customizing your program. So what I have done now as a natural health practitioner is I have taken all of my knowledge, made the links and connections, and customized different modalities to help serve the community better, treating the root cause so that you can go into the world and fulfill your passion, fulfill your purpose. So by combining science with our genetic makeup, we can now produce an immediate analysis of your past, your present, and your future health conditions. To do this, we use state-of-the-art, world-class technology and holistic methods. Holistic medicine has been around for 2,000 years, guys. This is not new. So what I specialize in is gut health, right? Everything starts in the gut. You have more neurons in your gut than in your brain. Skin conditions. Did you know that your skin is your biggest detoxing organ? Everything that comes out from the gut exposes through the skin. Inflammation, which is too much positive charged acid in a localized area, untreated for too long, becoming inflammation, which is fire. How do you put out a fire? I'll leave that nugget with you. Sleep and energy deprivation, weight loss, cancer, even autism. So there are so many things that we touched here. And yes, I have recovered so many people, 500 to be exact, and I'm only wanting to help serve you better. I'm also fluent in ASL sign language, which has been super impactful because I have been able to help over 54 hard of hearing and deaf individuals. These people deserve to be healthy as well, and there's so much lack of knowledge when it comes to what food can actually do and the potential it has when we use it properly. So some of my credentials, I am a natural health practitioner, herbalist, nutritionist, acutherapist, iridologist, sclerology, which is the study, Chinese medicine of the iris, and the white part, which is sclerology, medical scientist. I do muscle testing. I am licensed for microscopy and nutrition performance license. For me, what I've noticed with my practice now is the common issues in the collective health of the world. So number one thing, I'm going to share 6 with you of the most common that walk through my door, which is very easy to recover. However, people can go their whole life suffering when it's not necessary or needed. I want to make you independent with your health, take away that victim mentality, and turn you into a victor. I want your life to be a testimonial to empower and create that ripple effect one cell at a time. So number one is people come in all the time, unfortunately, for weight management, weight loss or weight gain. And this is an easy fix when you treat the root cause, always connected to gut health. Second one, cardiovascular conditions, high blood pressure, strokes, diabetes, blood sugar imbalances. All of these things are rampant right now. And what people don't realize is what you eat affects your blood sugar, but it also, when your blood sugar is being affected, it affects your mental health. Intestinal and gut rehabilitations, things like IBS, leaky gut, colitis, Crohn's, diverticulitis, hemorrhoids. Our medical system, unfortunately, uses a Band-Aid to correct these, but they never really talk about the underlying cause. And that's what we're here to teach you. The number 4 is immune system and autoimmune recovery, things like cancer. Yes, the big scary C, fibromyalgia, lupus, tumors, benign or malignant. Your body, every single cell, has 0.7 millivoltage of energy. You have 75 trillion cells or more, depending on your size. If you were to times that by 75 trillion, you are a walking atomic bomb of energy. You don't think your cells have enough energy to heal itself if we give it the right building blocks? I'll leave that with you. Number 5, mental health is on the rise. Autism transformation, anxiety, depression, insomnia. So many people are being prescribed SSRIs. I have patients that are coming in that are 3 and 4 years old on antidepressants and ADHD medication. I ask them right away, what are you eating? White bread, white sugar, candy, this, that, and the other. Well, what the heck's that going to do to your hippocampus or your parts of your brain? It's going to send all these confusing signals. The body can't compute, doesn't know what's going on. So if you were to start with the gut health, naturally, those SRIs won't be required. Medication reduction. Unfortunately, our medical system sends out a medication, and then over time, you bring in a patient, they're on 15, 16, even 20 medications. Let's get just back to chemistry. You don't think that one medication is going to affect the biochemistry, the neurochemistry, or the fact that you're combining 16 to 20 medications in a 24-hour span that is going to be filtered through the liver? You don't think that that's going to have a negative impact on your health? And then number 6 is chronic fatigue and adrenal fatigue syndrome. I suffered very bad from this to the point where I couldn't even get out of bed. I could barely open my eyelids. And I'm young and I'm healthy on the outside. On the inside, though, I was dying. And if you can't get out of bed, you can't feed yourself, you can't wipe yourself, you're not thriving. You're just existing. And we want people to stop existing. We want people to tap into that energy and start to thrive. So how do we do that? Services. Well, we have been very selective with some of the services that we offer you because they work. That's why we have so many recoveries, because they work. Why use a tool that doesn't work? So our scientific approach for microscopy is we use live blood and dry blood analysis. We actually extract your blood, little pinprick on the finger, and we pull it up on the screen. We compare your blood to medical charts and we compare. Is your blood separated? Is it moving? If your blood cells are all clumped together, just like Beata said, how are those middle cells that are all smooshed, all squished, How are they supposed to detoxify? How are they supposed to absorb nutrients? How are they supposed to move? If things don't move, then you're like a stagnant pond with a lot of bad microflora. But if you're like a raging river, well, now we can get nutrients to where they need to go. Got to remember, we're going against gravity. We stand upright. We got to get nutrients from the gut to the brain. But if the body isn't moving properly and there's not enough electronegativity in the blood, we got problems. Then I take a look at your eyes. So this is called iridology and sclerology. We actually study the patterns and the markings of your iris and your sclera. This is so important because this is going to tell us what your weaknesses are so we can strengthen them based on the pigmentation and the underlying causes. And then also we do a body scan, and this is galvanic skin response. It is NASA technology, biocommunication. It detects things that are too high or too low in the body, like your hormone levels, your gut health, your inflammation, your hydration, your sleep, your stress, your cortisol, so many vitamin minerals, all these wonderful things. If they are not in homeostasis, the body's not functioning properly. The cells, if we can get one cell to function properly and optimize it, we can duplicate that to the other 75 trillion cells. Now remember, your cells have a 25-day lifespan. Everything that you put into the cell genetically sends the next generation of cells and tells them what to do. So that's how people recover, is through that generational cellular rehabilitation. The next thing is acutherapy, which is a physical response. It's very similar to chiropractic care, massage care, and physio. This service targets many inconveniences such as obesity, hormonal imbalance, arthritis, headaches, muscle tension, toxic buildup, and more. And then eating right. So we do customize your eating right to make you optimize, as well as doing DNA analysis, which is an oral swab. We send it off to our lab. In about 30 days, it comes back with a whole 30-page compilation on what your genes are doing. Are they weak? Are they needing support? And then how do we do that? Using food and herbs. Pretty cool. We also do DNA telomere expansion, which is for some of our patients who want help with anti-aging. We also work with a very, very key component called structured electrically available water with free floating electrons. So what this water does is it actually, we have created a video on it to get really into the science behind it, but it supplies the body with water rich in free electrons, yes, like your plasma water. We empower it to self-organize, self-sustain, and self-correct. So water is very, very important because your lungs, 75% water, your blood, 92% water, your brain, 75% water. Your body is made up of water. You're just a bag of water. But water is what transports nutrients through a process called osmosis. If you are dehydrated, then have this analogy of a boat with all these beautiful nutrients in the middle of a desert. It's not going anywhere. You need to hydrate, and you need to hydrate properly because the body responds to proper negative ions. So this machine has been clinically proven to increase oxygen delivery, detoxify the body, support the body on mitochondrial dysfunction, which covers everything listed below. So in conclusion, you guys, getting to the root cause, treat the root cause, science doesn't lie, and eventually the body will go back to homeostasis and you can optimize your health and you can fulfill your purpose here on this earth. We are here to help each and every single individual thrive and live the life that you are entitled to live. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Water is so important. I remember when I met with you, I was sitting there and in a matter of 15 minutes, I started getting this huge migraine. You passed me over a glass of water and then within 5 minutes, things just started to clear up. So thank you. I will now pass it back to Patrick to finish off the rest of the webinar, and then we will have Q&A time. I extremely apologize for the delay in our webinar today. We had some technical issues in the beginning. So without further ado, Patrick, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathy. So in the beginning of our session today, we learned that despite all the advances in medical technology and drug research, we as a society continue to get sicker and sicker. So our public healthcare system isn't getting us the support that we need. We also learned that the typical approach to employee health benefits isn't working either, with 70% of plan members not getting supports that they need. Then we heard from James, Beata, and Ariel, who shared the vision for Vitality Wellness World and shared some amazing solutions which can help empower employee health and well-being and begin to unlock their potential. But now the question remains, how can employers and staff afford these holistic healthcare solutions? So to address that, we've created the Optimal Wellness Employee Benefits Program. And it's meant to allow employees to choose to have more freedom in how they see their healthcare and what options they want. So here are some of the categories that can be covered. So in terms of health, we have holistic wellness, fitness and sports, and natural health products like vitamins, supplements, and herbal remedies. For work-life harmony, we have pet care, childcare, and elder care supports. For personal and professional growth, it can cover workshops and classes, and even travel expenses and vacation funds. And for those people who are looking for more traditional supports, this program can still cover insurance, medical, drug, and dental, and extended healthcare if people choose so. Those are still all available. So how this works is the company sets up health accounts for every single employee. And based on things like the corporate culture, they will decide which categories that they want to put into the plan. Then they will allocate a health budget for every employee. And now this is where it gets interesting, because each employee takes that health budget and they decide what they want covered and how much of it they want covered. So in essence, they're creating their own mini health plans. And I'll share with you what that looks like. So let's say you have an employee, Jane, at your company. She needs medications for her husband, dental work for the family, and new glasses for her daughter. So Jane takes a more traditional approach and allocates her health budget to drug, dental, and extended health. Now say you have another employee, Jen. He needs support for acupuncture, herbal remedies, supplements, and yoga. So he takes a wellness focus and allocates his health budget to holistic wellness options. And then you have a third employee, Manjeet, who needs a more balanced approach, because while she wants dental checkups and massages, she also wants funding for her supplements. So she splits her health budget between traditional and wellness supports. And these are just three examples. If you have 100 different employees at your company, in theory, you could have 100 different unique plans. In terms of diversity and inclusion, one of the struggles that many companies have is gender inequality in caregiving, because women are 73% more likely than men to leave the workforce to become a family caregiver. To keep them in the workforce, they can have unique benefits like hiring private home care support for their aging parents, or hiring a burnout coach for their work-life harmony. For employees who are struggling with intergenerational trauma, hypnotherapy, neurolinguistic programming, energy healing have all been shown to be highly effective, and now those can be covered. We heard Ariel talk about ADHD, and autism and ASD. And so in addition to her programs, we have neurodiversity programs that can transform those diagnoses into workplace assets. Some of your employees might have different ideas of what social causes they want to support. Some of them may allocate their health budget to supporting green living or eco-friendly expenses. Others may use that to donate to a charity that they believe in. Others may create a volunteer fund, so when they travel abroad for humanitarian reasons, they can use that for travel, hotels, and meals. And as we've heard, many people are finding that Western medicines aren't working for them anymore and turning to things like Ayurveda, yoga, Qigong, herbal remedies. And now those can be supported as well. I want to share an example with Elena's story. So Elena's a single mom who works long hours as a software engineer. Elena was struggling with fibromyalgia, depression, and debt. Now she went to her family doctor, but that doctor ended up dismissing her concerns, saying that she was overworked, she was stressed, and basically said it was all in her head. This left her feeling more helpless than ever, but she didn't give up. She learned that she can use her benefits program to fund her unique health and wellness choices, such as using CBD oil to alleviate some of the pain from her fibromyalgia flare-ups. She hired an integrative health coach to start treating the root causes of her condition, which in her case ended up being a combination of nutritional deficiencies, stress, and toxicities in her environment. She also hired an energy healer to treat her depression and a financial coach to create a plan to get her out of debt. And with all that improved energy and outlook, Elena was able to stay at work, be productive, saved the company a lot of money, but most importantly of all, she was able to preserve her long-term health. So to summarize the difference between the traditional approach and the holistic model, traditional plans typically have drug, dental, and extended health components. The holistic model has all of that, but also adds on holistic wellness, work-life harmony, and personal growth supports. The traditional model tends to be one size fits all. And as employers try to add more and more categories to support their staff, it becomes very expensive for the company. So they start cutting back. The holistic model is designed to support diversity and inclusion without breaking the bank. And now we start to go beyond the insurance benefits. With the traditional approach, leaves companies with health gaps, which leads to hidden costs for them. We use holistic health assessments to be able to find out where employees need the most supports, but without singling them out. Traditional approaches also tend to have very limited resources when it comes to chronic illness and mental health. We have a diverse wellness network, which can address virtually any area that employees need more support with. And traditional plans, they're focused on managing expensive drug plans. So employees end up staying sick and costs continue to increase. Our philosophy with the holistic model is to address the root causes of illness, eliminate it, so that we can reduce drug plan usage, have employees improve their health, and have companies become profitable. And you might be wondering, how much will it cost to switch to a holistic model? Because for a lot of people, it sounds expensive. Well, the great news is, if you have an existing employee benefits plan, there are actually little to no additional cost of switching over. And if your company doesn't have a plan yet, we can set one up for basically any budget. You might also be wondering, what are other companies doing? So 88% of employers actually want their benefits plan to provide better support for chronic diseases. 75% of them plan to invest in health and wellness over the next 3 years in key areas including mental health, chronic illness, fitness, and no surprise here, immunity. So in terms of our vision for working together, really see this as 3 phases. So our first phase is to start shifting from sickness to health. So we address the risk factors associated with life-threatening diseases like cancer, heart disease, and dementia. We can alleviate chronic conditions such as diabetes, fibromyalgia, and depression. Phase 2 is really about preventing future illnesses and even going beyond that to optimize wellness in areas like energy, immunity, mood, resilience, and even things like cellular regeneration and anti-aging. And phase 3 is once everyone's healthy, we can start to support someone's journey of personal and professional growth, where we can help them explore their self, their connection to nature, to the world, and really begin to unlock that untapped potential that everyone has. And I believe that by working together, we can transform healthcare into a holistic model. We can help companies become profitable while being wellness influencers in communities all across Canada. And perhaps even in our lifetime, we can see an end to chronic illness and mental health impacts. And now I would love to share our gift to you today, which is our first solution, which is the organizational holistic health assessments for our company. And it's designed to uncover your hidden costs of chronic illness and identify where you and your staff need the most support. And a special bonus for today, when you complete the assessment, you will receive a complimentary 15-minute health assessment, courtesy of Ariel Jarvis, plus a complimentary cell treatment. So this is all thanks to our amazing partners here at Vitality Wellness World. And I will bring it back over to Kathy.
Thank you so much. So I hope you guys can see why we brought this webinar together for you, to show you guys all the options that you guys have to creating better health and wellness the holistic way. Thank you for sticking with us, and we'll now open the floor for some questions. One actually came in for Patrick, and it says, what insurance companies cover some of these policies that you're talking about?
Yeah, great question. So we work with different insurance companies depending on your company's specific needs. So if you have a smaller company and you're looking for more holistic approaches, we work with a program called MyFlexPlan. For companies whose employees might still be looking for that mix of traditional drug and dental plus the holistic, then we work with a company called Benecaid. And they're actually affiliated with, they recently acquired by Green Shield. So they're not the same as Green Shield plans, but they work under that umbrella. And for larger companies with over 50 employees, we actually work with a special program from Sun Life to be able to incorporate this choice in healthcare.
Okay, another question was, how difficult is this to facilitate for a company with more than 100 employees?
Yeah, so yeah, not a problem at all. I mean, we go through an intake process to find out where employees, and actually this actually works well, because with the holistic health assessments, we can actually capture all the information from 100 different staff members and be able to give you a snapshot of where they need the most supports. And then we can use that working with Ariel and Beata to design programs specific to your staff's unique needs. Oh, Kathy, you're muted.
Sorry, Clara asked, when was this introduced by the insurance companies?
Yeah, great question, Clara. Benikid has been around since the early 2000s. So they've been around for a while. They introduced their holistic wellness benefits program back in 2017. So this is and Sun Life was around the same time as well. So these are been around for a few years. They've been tested in different markets, and they feel confident in expanding these.
Awesome. Okay, the next question that came in is for Beata. Would salt treatments be suitable for all ages? We answered that already. Pretty much yes, right? You're muted.
Yes, it is. Yeah, you can have as young as a newborn baby. We adjust the treatment for the ages, and as old as elderly, could be 90-year-old. Again, we adjust the salt rooms based on the age.
Okay, and same thing for you, Beata. What could someone expect from their first salt treatment?
The expectations is as it's not a miracle room. So when you do go there first time, you would feel that you can breathe easier. It again varies. I had a client after COVID recovery. He came there with oxygen tank with the intake in his nose for a couple of months. He couldn't breathe. He was only relying on that. He had a first session in there. He was able to take it off and was able to breathe without it for the first session. Again, it doesn't work for everybody the same way. I had a couple of clients that came after 2-3 treatments, and his voice came back. He actually lost his voice. So it really varies. We're all different. Again, we are treating a cell at a time. But I would say I honestly offer 5 to 10 treatments for people to see the difference.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And also, just for you guys to know, we have a July special right now where it's 3 sessions for the price of 1. And you can mix and match your PEMF treatment or salt, all salt or all PEMF. It's really up to you. And if you decide to get a larger package, anything 5 sessions or more, you can apply that $65 to your package. So that's a great promotion for July. And the last question that came in is for Ariel. What is DNA enhancing?
So when the body starts to absorb the proper bioavailable building blocks, then it can send it to where it needs to go. Our DNA enhancing is we actually extract a saliva test. We send it off to our partnered scientific lab. They do some analytical data collection, and they are actually able to determine, based on your swab, which genes that you were born with are weak. Whether it's a gene for detoxification, a gene for having a healthy heart, a gene for having healthy neurons in the brain and gut, a gene for the ability to produce more, cells in a specific area. There's so many things. So it's always customized. And then what we do, and then what it does is it lets you know which foods and which supplements and which herbs to compartmentalize together at a specific time to start to regrow or re-support those genes that are weak, so that your weaknesses now become your strengths. So then as your cells start to make new cells, that new genetic information gets passed on.
See, guys, I'm still learning stuff, and I work with these guys. Thank you so much for explaining that. Another question actually is from Heather. What is the employer-employee cost for this extended assessment to be implemented in the workplace? Patrick?
So thanks, Heather. I just typed it into the chat, but yeah, we're offering these on a complimentary basis for now, right now.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I
so
will actually be emailing you guys, anybody who's attended and on the list for signing up for this webinar. You guys will receive a recording of this, and you guys will also receive the health assessment. Okay, that's all the questions for now. Unless any of you guys have any more, well, thank you. Information. Do you have any office in Toronto? Also wondering about the insurance. Can you get coverage if you're retired from a larger institution?
Yeah, so it is possible. We'd have to set this up with the company, and basically we'll have to work with them to introduce that option.
Thank you, Clara. Yes, it is very interesting. Well, without further ado, we're going to end this webinar with a woohoo, and let's tackle our healthcare the holistic way. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.